Ponza is a deck that's all about land destruction. But wait, where does the name Ponza come from? Well, Ponza's first true appearance as an actual deck was during the Wrath Cycle Pro Tour qualifiers for Pro Tour Rome. The deck was designed by Brian Kowal. Adrian Sullivan, one of Kowal's teammates, once said, "A Ponza Rata is like a calzone, but deep fried instead of baked." Kowal named it Ponza because it had all the key ingredients to a Ponza Rata: the cheese, burn, the meat, big creatures, and the sauce, the land destruction. Kowal called the Ponza Rata the finest delicacy in Waukesha, Wisconsin. This type of deck has seen countless iterations, but in Pauper, the deck looks something like this. Players will start the game off by playing small creatures like Arbor Elf, Llanowar Elves, Llanowar Visionary, stuff like that, and if those aren't available, there are plenty of Utopia Sprawls and Wild Growths to go around. Basically, you try and build up as much lands and or mana that you can to stay ahead in the early game. While you're building, you need to keep your opponent at bay. This takes the form of Monvali Acid Moss and Thermokarst. Destroying opponents' lands is the best way to stay ahead, all things considered. And finally, to close out the game, you'll have multiple copies of stuff like Annoyed Altasaur and Boarding Party, which will cascade into basically anything else in the deck. This includes stuff like Jewel Thief or Avenging Hunter, which provide value when they enter. You can also play cards like Spite Bellows or Twin Silk Spider for extra damage or extra creatures. It's a very vulnerable deck in the beginning, but if you can get the engine rolling, it's just nigh impossible to stop in this format. But trust me, I've played against this deck. Cascade is nuts, and not having lands is just awful. Ponza decks stop opponents in the right places and closes out games with style. I highly recommend this kind of deck if you want a mid to late game finish that builds steadily and keeps your opponents on their toes. What do you think of this kind of deck? Is it something you're considering? Well, make sure to click that TCGplayer affiliate link to buy those cards and help out the channel. Then click on that Patreon link and consider joining for as little as $1 a month. Thank you so much to my current Patreon subscribers. I love you all so much, and I will catch the rest of you next week for your weekly dose of magic.